guys, welcome to Jackie with a Q. How's everybody doing today? Let me tell y'all something. As you know, I just moved down here to Charlotte. This is a different type of hot, right? It's a different type of hot, right? I got to get used to it. So I got to go out. I've been out. I was out earlier, right? And it was cool. But before I got back in, it was hot. All right, let me tell y'all something. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can get notifications as I upload new videos. Today we're going to be talking about, today is Free Game Friday on Saturday, okay? Today I'm going to be talking about, one of my subscribers wrote in and said they wanted me to talk about self-sabotage. Now, believe it or not, this is a subject I'm very familiar with, right? Self-sabotaging. Now, for you all that don't really know what I'm talking about, let's say you date somebody. Let's say you like somebody, right? He like you, you like him, right? But before it can get any further, you have done something you have created a problem in your mind. You've created a problem in your mind that you can't get past. That is self-sabotage, right? And not saying that that's not a thing. What you saw, what you heard, what you felt is not a thing. But as a self-sabotager, you make it bigger than what it is. And also, self-sabotagers look for red flags. They look for issues. They look for trouble, right? So that's a self-sabotager, right? Now, I have been guilty of this probably all my life. When I first heard about this, my mother told me that, as it relates to relationships, right? For me. Now, you can self-sabotage in your career, relationships, you can self-sabotage, right? But I'm going to talk about it today as it pertains to relationships, right? So, didn't know that I was doing it because, when you're in your 20s and 30s, maybe even your 40s, you're not that self-aware of who you are, right? And yeah, you're not that self-aware, right? And so for me, even though I have siblings, I was raised as only child, right? So in my world, it was all about me. It's all about me. You know what I mean? And when you're trying to relate with somebody, it is two people. It took me years to realize that, because I thought that, a man is supposed to do everything. There's really no 50-50 on my part. All I have to do is be here, look cute, and cook or something. I don't know what I thought, right? But I wasn't really fully invested in the intertwining of each other, right? And so I would do a lot of, it only took, and I'm sort of like that now, but I'm a little more wiser. It only took you to do or say one thing, and I turned it into a thing. I made it a big thing. Like, no, don't like you, can't deal with you, and find a way to not be in that relationship or that friendship, right? Because, when it's new, it's just a friendship. You ain't even related. I would ruin it before we even got to the level of a relationship when it was still in the friendship phase, right? And I think that's because, and I think many people do this, that's because you want to hold on to your independence, right? You want to hold on to your independence. You want to hold on to nobody's going to tell me what to do. I'm doing what I want to do. And that's that, right? But when you're trying to relate with someone, when you're trying to be in a relationship with someone, you have to be a little vulnerable and let that go. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. I didn't really learn this until maybe a few years ago. Maybe. It wasn't that long, right? So, the self-sabotage, and I didn't realize I was self-sabotaging. I was just being me and doing what I want to do, and I was only concerned with me, right? And I'm sure that somewhere along the way on my journey of life that I have dismissed a great companion, right? I'm sure that I have, right? Not saying that no more is going to come, but I'm sure I have dismissed one or two or three or four, right? But, like I said, as you grow, as you get older, you become wiser and you evolve, right?
So evolution is very important, you know. So you can look back and say, okay, let me see what's wrong with me. Why did I do this? Why did I do that? Why nothing's working? Now, don't discredit your red flags when you see them, but just take a look at everything, analyze everything, right? Because, like I said, sabotagers, we do it and we're not even conscious that we're doing it, right? We're not conscious that we're doing it. We're just doing it. We doing whatever makes us happy, whatever gives us joy at that time. So if you're not giving us joy at that time, we don't have time to work through it or see if there's something better on the other side, right? We just, hey, done. You know what I mean? Or a real self-sabotager would do something to make sure that it doesn't work. Now, is this conscious or unconscious? Who knows, right? Because, when I look back, and I have been a self-sabotager, like I told you, I wasn't thinking that. That wasn't my thought, like, I'm going to mess this up. That wasn't my thought. That was never my thought, right? It's just that, shit, you didn't do what I wanted you to do. You didn't do right, and so now I'm done, right? So, you have to take people. First of all, you have to take, when you try to be in a relationship, whether it's a friendship, girlship, whatever it is, you have to take people at face value. You can't change anybody. I've talked about that before. And you can only change yourself. So this is for the self-sabotagers and all of us, right? You can only change you, and you have to look at situations with with more than one eye, right? You have to look at it in different ways, right? Front, back. And I had a guy I was with years ago told me that. He was like, you have to look at a situation or a problem in more than one way. And I think self-sabotagers only look at it one way. That's the problem, right? I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychologist, sociologist, or therapist or any of that, right? But I think the way to not be a self-sabotager is to look at yourself. Look in within you and see, what is it that I want? What is it that I need from this person, and what makes sense and what is reasonable? See, we have to be reasonable. And I think a lot of times people like myself that are self-sabotagers, we are not reasonable people, right? We're not reasonable in what we want. We want somebody to jump through hoops maybe, right? Or do something that's bigger than what they're able to do. See, you got to always be, everybody can't do things the way you do them, right? And so a self-sabotager, like I said, I never was aware, when I was sabotaging these relationships, I wasn't aware that I was doing it. It wasn't like I was in my head like, I'm gonna fuck this up right now. No, it didn't happen like that. It's just, I probably did some shit to please me. And if you didn't go along with it, if it went bad, I didn't care, right? So that's crazy. That's a crazy way to think. Like, if you don't do what I want you to do, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to create this reaction from you, and then I don't care. That's crazy, right? So, there's an old saying that you can't do the same thing and expect a different result. That's called insanity. So with a self-sabotager, you have to change your way of thinking, right? Anytime you're trying to be in a relationship, whatever kind it is, like I say, a friendship or, with your soulmate or whoever it is, right? You have to change your way of thinking. You have to give a little. You have to compromise. You have to not just think of yourself, right? You have to not just think of yourself. So, I'm working on me. I'm really a work in progress, right? I'm working on me. And for anybody that's 20s and 30s and 40s that are younger, I marvel at, I have friends, like I said, of all ages, and I really admire my friends that are in their 20s, 30s, and 40s that are really grown. I thought I was grown because I paid bills, took care of my kids, got money. I thought I was grown, right? Mentally, I wasn't grown, right? I admire my friends, like I said, that are younger than me, that are really handling life, right? And can form these, when I look at my friends, especially my friends in their 20s and 30s that have good, solid relationships with their man, I admire that. I admire that, right? Because that means you're thinking of the other person, and you, it's a, what's the word I'm looking for? it's a togetherness. It's a real togetherness, right? And when I think back on my relationships, right, like I told you guys, I got 3 kids with 3 different men, even though there were 3 different times in my life, 3 different decades, right? I don't know if the first one I probably wasn't. I believe the first one is what tainted me for all the rest of the relationships. I'm almost positive of that. My first child's father, I was young. You know, I told you I went off to college and all that. He wouldn't let me be. And I didn't know how to combat that stalkerness in him, right? And so from there, it was like, ain't nobody telling me what to do. Ain't nobody going to do shit if they don't do it, you know. And I think that's where that came from. Like, you know, if it don't go my way, it's no way. Yeah, you can't be like that, right? And it took me years, like I said, just a few years ago, since I've been single, to realize the wrongs that I played in these relationships. Now, mind you, I thought I didn't do nothing wrong because I didn't cheat. I didn't do anything wrong. But you know, the way you treat somebody is very important. You know, the way you treat somebody, right? And even though those relationships might not have lasted anyway, because what you want, for me anyway, what I was looking at in my 20s and 30s, I don't want today, right? I'm not interested in that type of person today. But I think the self-sabotaging for me came from that very first relationship I had because it was so horrible. And again, this is going to be in my book, y'all. And I want, I'm going to finish. I'm trying to set a goal as to when I'm going to finish. But then I don't want to give myself that much pressure because it's a lot to say and it's a lot to unpack and it's a lot of emotions involved, right? But that relationship will definitely, because it shaped me, right? It shaped me. And I'm just now unshaping from that, okay? And my son will be 41 years old. So, a lot of choices you make early on, you don't understand because you're too young to understand, right? And like I said, that relationship shaped me. And I'm trying to reshape myself, right? And it's taken a long time to do that because that was an abusive relationship for one, mentally, physically. It was abusive, right? And so from every man after that, it was like, if he did this, I ain't fucking with you or whatever. It was, I always put a stop to whatever it was. I always put a stop. And I never really gave anybody a chance. If I see one little piece of flag, red flag, it didn't even have to be red. It could have been a green flag, right? If I see anything I didn't like, I put a halt to it, right? So my relationships would never last no more than 30, 60, 90 days. They wasn't even relationship shit. I don't remember their names, right? That's because that first relationship shaped me, right? And so later on, when I was in my 40s and I was with this person that I told you I was with for a long time, that was really my first real relationship, right? And even though I thought I was ready, there were still things about me inside that even though he was wrong, he was wrong, but there were things that I didn't know how to properly handle. And I was very good at emasculating a man. And you can't do that, ladies. And black women, we do that, right? You have to learn how to deal with your issues in a more feminine, softer way. Okay? All right, guys. I got to, it's hot outside. I got to get out here and I'm going. Now, let me tell y'all something. I'm venturing out today. I usually go to the store and come back home. But I'm going to get me a fish dinner. And one of my friends told me about a fish place where I can go. Because, we got this at home in Cleveland where I can pick my fish and they fry it in there, right? So I'm going to get him a try, right? And you wait outside. You go in and make your order or you call it in. Go in there and pick my fish, right? And then you wait in your car for it to be ready. So I'm venturing out, y'all, right? And it's hot outside. And I need some Freon in my truck, right? So keep your fingers crossed for me, guys. But I haven't really been, venturing out, right? So anyway, guys, thanks for watching Jackie with a Q, where the Q stands for Queen, the Q stands for Question, and the Q stands for Quality of Life, right? Make sure you guys drop down in the comments. Let me know what's going on, what you think. Like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell for the notifications so you know when I upload the next video. All right, guys. Again, thanks for watching Jackie with a Q on a Saturday, right? That was my Freestyle Friday. Missed it yesterday. Sometimes life just happens. It just happened. It comes, right? But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Have a great weekend and stay safe. Black Lives Matter, and continue to wear your mask because COVID is real. Bye-bye.